financial report for the first quarter of 2023. Its profit plummeted by 96%, from 14.12 trillion won in the same period last year to 600 billion won, which was worse than the financial crisis in 2008. In this regard, even the South Korean media couldn't stand it anymore, and used shame to evaluate this incident. From unlimited scenery to plummeting profits, why did Samsung develop like this? In the past few decades, due to China's weak chip technology, the domestic chip market has long been divided by foreign companies. In 2018, American chip giant Micron Technology obtained 58% of its revenue through the Chinese market. Samsung earned $241.2 billion from China in 2021, which was equivalent to the cost of dozens of aircraft carriers. However, in the past 2 years, with the sharp drop in global chip demand, Samsung's inventory is too high and profits have plummeted. It has to change its strategy and choose to follow the market and reduce production. On the other hand, the rise of domestic chip manufacturers such as YMTC and CXMT has also given Samsung another wave of shock. For example, in the two most critical segments of memory chips, non-volatile storage devices, NAND, and dynamic random access memory, DRAM, Samsung once occupied the highest market share. However, Chinese chips such as CXMT, YMTC, and Gigadevice have advanced by leaps and bounds, ruthlessly depriving Samsung of its dominance. In the field of DRAM, which is Samsung's strong point, China's chips are unremittingly and earnestly researched and developed. CXMT has built a 12-inch fab and put it into production, which is only about 2 generations away from the leading companies. In addition, Samsung and other 6 major manufacturers monopolize 95% of the NAND market and are also being caught up by China. In just a few years, YMTC has matched Samsung's high-tech level. In the field of NOR, China is gradually undertaking production capacity, and Gigadevice has the largest market share in China. At the same time, the low price of Chinese chips made it difficult for Samsung to parry, causing it to be squeezed out of the Chinese market in despair. Recalling the scene when Samsung arrogantly rejected Huawei's request for help, the chip cannot be sold at the moment, which can be said to be self-inflicted. Micron, the US chip giant, has almost lost its share to China's domestic chips. Recently, it has also been censored for hindering China's technological development. It is worth mentioning that, in addition to Samsung, the latest report of the American Semiconductor Association shows that in February this year, global semiconductor sales fell by 20.7% year-on-year, and the performance of microchip giants Qualcomm, Micron, and Intel was also terrible. At present, the cold wave of chips makes Samsung's life miserable, but it faces more difficulties than that. In 2016, Samsung's mobile phone business was squeezed out by Chinese domestic manufacturers, and factories were closed one after another. Just when the outside world thought it was completely withdrawn, it adjusted its strategy to high-end manufacturing industry, moved the mobile phone chip business to Xi'an, China, and built a factory, investing more than $10 billion successively. As the United States sanctioned Chinese chips, Samsung's nature showed itself, and it spent $17 billion to build a factory in the United States. However, the U.S. has requested not to expand its production capacity in China by more than 5%, and it is extremely difficult for Samsung to abandon its huge chip layout in the mainland. Also doing business in the Chinese market, companies such as ASML are shrewd. President Wen Kening flew to China despite the pressure, hoping to continue to negotiate business with the mainland. Japanese biotechnology companies also know how to put the status of Chinese consumers first, and are welcomed by the market. In such a situation,